everybody, welcome to Hughes and Hoellman. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie, growing in Zone 6, and today I'm trying to clean up my in-ground garden beds. I have a mixture of both raised bed and in-ground garden beds. I also garden in containers too. But today we're gonna clean up the in-ground garden beds, and if time allows, we can also try to get some potatoes in the ground. I think it's a little bit early, but for my zone 6, because it's, March 14th. It may be a bit early, but I'm gonna try to get them in now. Okay, we are starting in my in-ground bed here. So this bed is not that old. There's actually, I know it's kind of hard to see with all the weeds and stuff, but there are three different garden beds or in-ground gardens there. My husband extended my garden out to this area in 2022. So I've planted in here some asparagus seeds. So those are perennial and they'll come back every year. So I'm very excited for those, especially since for my asparagus, this is the year that I can really start to harvest. What I would do the last couple of summers, or springs, I should say, is we just took a few asparagus just to taste, but we didn't really harvest them heavy. So this year I am planning on being a little bit more heavy-handed with harvesting the asparagus. And then on the upper portion is where I planted the potatoes. So I plan on doing the potatoes again this year in that bed. Um, but I don't necessarily always plant the potatoes there. I think actually the first year in 2022, I believe I put my zucchini in the ground there. So that's that's something, I'll kind of play with and change out. But the asparagus is something that's kind of set and will be there for years and years to come. So now we are in the second garden bed here. This is where I will be planting a full row of potatoes. And as I'm continuing to work through the weeds, you'll start to see the defined rows here. I do have, again, a total of 3 in-ground garden beds. In years past, I've planted in the garden bed that I'm working in, I've planted corn, and that actually worked out very well there. I did sweet corn. I actually tried some red corn. The red corn, I didn't get as much of a harvest as I did the sweet corn, but I still have some seeds left over, so I will try some more of that red corn. It just looks wonderful to see the red kernels there. I will be placing my corn in a different area, and I will most likely show you all that space during the next upcoming garden tour. So now I'm going to work on the tomato trellis, just cleaning it up. I have some string that I've used to twine up my tomatoes that were here that I need to get off, as well as just some dead plants that I kind of forgot to take it off over the winter. I do plan on looking for another space to grow my tomatoes. I've been growing and planting them where that trellis is for the past 3 years, so they are overdue to be placed somewhere else. Um, I do have to take some time to kind of survey the garden and see where it would be a good spot for my tomatoes. Again, I don't have a large garden. It's not terribly small either, but I do have to make sure I optimize my space. So I'm thinking of, where I could give up a raised bed, or I may just put the tomatoes in containers, which would be new for me. I've never planted tomatoes in containers before. So I'll see if I'm up to that challenge this year, but they will not be going on the trellis, that's for sure. One thing I did forget to mention to you all, I do have weed fabric down. My husband, when he made these in-ground beds, he did put down weed fabric. The one thing with weed fabric is it is not 100%, that's for sure. And if, as you can see, if you let things pile up like leaves and weeds and things like that, it all composts and turns into soil, and it doesn't really make a barrier at all. So um, the weed fabric, it is helpful. It's better than just having lawn and grass there, as that would be even harder to clean up. But um, I did just want to let you all know that there is weed fabric down on those beds there. So now I'm going to get the second bed ready for the potatoes. So I'm just using my shovel there, standing on it just to loosen up the soil and dig a trench. I'm going about 3 to 4 inches deep, and then I'm going to add more soil on top and mound it up. So the potatoes I'll be planting will be Purple Majesty, Russet Potato, and Red Norlands. The first potato I'm planting out are the Red Norland potatoes. I'm going to finish that bag, and then I will be planting out the russet potatoes. So the Red Norlands go about 75% of the way down the bed, and then the rest 25% would be the russet potatoes. I did not plant the purple potatoes, and they will be planted again April 1st or around that date. All right, now that all the potatoes are planted in the bed, I'm going to use my leftover soil I have to cover the potatoes. Again, the soil is loose and it has nutrients, so I figured it'd be a good idea just to use the rest of that soil up. And I will place the garden soil back on top. You'll see later on in the video that I do cover everything with pine shavings at the end. So my camera does eventually die while I'm fixing the beds back up. But what does happen is that I continue to fill the beds back up. I make sure the rows are as neat as possible, getting all the soil back in the bed. And then I do look for a way to actually define the beds. So my husband actually had some trees cut down, two trees on our property, and then our neighbor donated a tree off of their property to us. So I used some branches from those trees to define the bed. And I'll show you guys at the end what it looks like. I'm excited to actually have the extra trees, and I hope to rent a wood chipper and create my own wood chips. So that's something I plan on doing over the next month or so. Also, I use pine shavings as mulch. I haven't seen too many people use pine shavings as mulch, so I'd be very interested to see is anybody else using pine shavings. It's weed free, so I love it, but share with me if you have or if you haven't used pine shavings and why not. I'm so glad that you stopped by. Thanks for watching.